Joining me now is energy correspondent, New Telegraph, Adeola Yusuf. It's nice to have you join me right now.
It's my pleasure.
All right, now let's get into the issue of pipeline vandalism. The point there is, this has not been a new phenomenon in Nigeria. We've had it before, but it wasn't on the news recently so much. It's quite surprising to hear that that a number of pipeline vandalism took place in the past few months.
Okay, like you said, it's a problem that has been with us for a very long time. And the saddening part of it is that government in and under government out, no one has been able to find a permanent solution to it. Okay, there is a triangle of crime, what I call triangle of crime. We have pipeline vandalism, we have crude theft, and we have illegal refinery. The three of them work hand in hand. And from observation, it has become an industry bigger than a number of other industries put together. So when you want to fight an industry, you have to get prepared for it.
But with the enormous resources at the disposal of NNPC, how challenging has it been for NNPC to be able to deploy the necessary or galvanize the necessary security to oversee, keep an eye on its pipelines?
Okay, to give it to NNPC, NNPC has been trying its best to ensure that this is put in check. But truth of the matter is that provision of security and safety and all that have to do with pipeline goes beyond NNPC. Over time, we've heard of cooperation. The NNPC is trying to arrange with security agencies, the military, the police, the Nigerian civil defense, and all that. But we have not been able to see, from record, total stoppage to this crime. Okay, from the figures you relate, in May we have 15 points on pipelines that were impaired, ruptured. But in June we have 107. So that's to show, from record, that's to show that with all the effort to the collaboration, the number is increasing, and some people are feeling fat on that.
What do you make of the reports that sometimes there's a collaboration or collusion between criminal elements, pipeline vandals, and the security agencies?
Okay, actually there is a report by the Chatham House in London which indicted the military, indicted the politician, indicted officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, and a whole lot of people that were being given salaries to protect these assets. Okay, from my finding, it has been discovered that in 2018, over 990 billion naira was lost to pipeline vandalism and crude theft. And if you look at the budget for education, for health in a year, the total spent by the country, if you put the two of them together, they are not up to what Nigeria is losing to pipeline vandalism. So this is the problem that needs to be, thoroughly addressed.
Okay, we'll leave you here for now. Adeola Yusuf, energy correspondent, New Telegraph. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now joining me is energy editor, New Telegraph, Adeola Yusuf. Thank you so much for joining us at this time. Startling figure, you would say, and the situation seems to not be palatable when you look at how Nigeria still relies on energy and oil. What would you say is the missing point? Where is the missing link for the Nigerian government?
Okay, I said earlier, there's what I call the triangle of crimes. We have pipeline vandalism, and anytime we have pipeline vandalism, it's closely followed by crude theft or product theft, and followed by illegal refining. Like the figure reeled out by the NNPC, it has shown that last year, Nigeria lost about 995.2 billion naira to pipeline vandalism and crude theft. And if you look at the budget for education, the country budgeted 620.5 billion naira for education, 315.62 billion for health, combining the two appropriation for health and education is not up to what the country lost in 1 year for. I mean, to pipeline vandalism and corruption. So it is a problem, a big one. And now, looking at the monthly financial and operational report by NNPC released for June, it has shown that in May, they recorded 60 points, pipeline vandalized point, 60. But in June, that jumped to 106. So that's the 77%. So it shows that all efforts that have been put into ensuring that that crime is checked are not yielding results. And I think the government needs to look into that again. We all know that there is no substantive minister for petroleum resources. The president is still, so the president, by that action, everyone knows that he wants to look at that sector thoroughly. So a lot, is expected from him.
But let's look at the contribution of the NNPC and the IOCs to the host communities now. A lot of persons would say that they've not done so much in carrying out their corporate social responsibility to ensure that these communities also join in protecting the pipelines. What would you say is, how should the IOCs or the NNPC be looking at, incorporating the host communities in helping out in protecting the pipelines?
Okay, if you look at the results, the surge in pipeline vandalism, you will agree with those with the position that a lot has not been done to curtail it. But to survey pipeline, to ensure pipelines are not vandalized, it's not easy. We have over 5,000 kilometers of pipeline, laid across the country. So to survey this and to ensure the protection of this will be very, very quick. And I'll agree with you that there is no way the cooperation of the host community won't be needed. So a lot of efforts we've had have been channeled into that, but up till now we don't see the results. In as much as we still have, so in other countries they use drone for pipeline surveillance. In other countries, aside from the cooperation, but by and large, the drone that you want to operate, someone will be somewhere that will be controlling that drone. So you need that person to be, upright. You need that person to be patriotic enough into not joining the cabal of those that, are sabotaging the effort of the government to ensure that pipelines are in good shape. Like I told you, a lot have been lost to this. In a country where people lose relatives due to inability to pay 5,000, hospital bills, a whopping naira 95 billion naira is being lost every year.
But looking at Lagos, for instance, where we've had cases of pipeline vandalism, let's not go too far to the Niger Delta, but let's look at Lagos, where we've had issues of pipeline vandalism, and you'd see where the pipelines, where residential areas are being, erected, and where the pipelines, of which pipelines run through these areas. What do you think the government should be doing? Because when you look at these areas where pipelines are being erected, constructed, and you also have persons living in that community, it aids or give increase to pipeline vandalism.
Okay, there shouldn't be any excuse for pipeline vandalism at all. And over the years, before a pipeline is laid, part of what is expected is what they call pipeline right-of-ways. Okay. But you discover that a lot of people are encroaching on those right-of-ways. It's aside from the pipeline, there are certain, meters that structures must not be erected. So people are violating that. And I think a proactive action, has to be done. The government shouldn't wait until, we have cases of pipeline vandalism and, destruction of lives and properties before. So they can move in and ensure that those pipelines right-of-ways are, monitored and are protected. Yeah.
Energy editor of New Telegraph, Adeola Yusuf, thank you so much for joining us at this time.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
I have joining me, energy editor of the New Telegraph, Adeola Yusuf. Thank you so much for joining us at this time. Now, a lot of issues have been raised concerning how Nigeria is able to manage the oil sector, and some persons have said that Nigeria should, employ the way of diversifying the economy. But looking at the oil sector, Nigeria seems to, still be in that confines of relying on importing crude, refined oil, where we have our local refineries not being able to come up to expectation. What do you think the government should be doing at this time?
Okay, it's embarrassing to sit today to still be talking about importation of petroleum products by Nigeria that is ranked #1 in terms of production and crude
Having
exports.
crude oil.
Yes, yes. So what we are doing, embarrassingly, is that we produce crude in Nigeria. We allocate 445,000 barrels of crude to local refineries. But because of our inability to ensure that those refineries, could refine those allocated products, we have to ship them out to refineries abroad, provide jobs for thousands of people there, improve their economy, and still go there to buy refined products back into Nigeria. It's embarrassing from any angle you want to look at it. Though the government we've had has been putting everything in place to ensure that that embarrassing situation is stopped. But until that is done, we can't see this what we have. Mind you, the immediate past Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibika Chiku, at a function in South Africa 2 years ago, said Nigeria, that it will resign if Nigeria is not self-sufficient in refining in 2019, you understand. Of course, his tenure expired in 2019 and nothing happened. And later, when we asked him that question about what gave him that impression that Nigeria will be, so he mentioned the Dangote refinery, which is a private sector-driven, you understand. So fine, if Dangote can fill the vacuum, it's good, but it is embarrassing that up to now, Nigeria is still, all the 4 refineries, we learned that Port Harcourt 1, the first refinery in Port Harcourt, is not working again, but the 3 refineries are not doing anything to ensure that that 445,000 barrels of crude allocated to them, are refined. And what this has brought to us again is that because we depend on other countries for refined products, we are compelled to pay subsidy. Because if you look at the crude is priced at international rates,
Okay.
So whatsoever happens to crude oil at the international market will affect the refined products we are going there to buy. So what naturally we should refine, at home that we have shipped out to other countries. By the time we go there to go and buy it, the amount we are buying it, we still need to dig hand into the purse of the country to add a subsidy. So in all ramifications, it's something that is embarrassing, and it's high time the government, looked into that and tackled that. Up till now, in the first 4 years, the President Muhammadu Buhari did not appoint a substantive minister for petroleum resources. Everyone knows by that action that he is a minister. And now, the same thing is happening. We expect him to do his best in that regard to ensuring that, Nigeria is self-sufficient and, start refining locally.
Our own crude oil.
Yeah.
Energy editor of New Telegraph, Adeola Yusuf, thank you so much for your time on the
My
program.
pleasure. Thank you.